So for today, I want to take you through the laws of indices. There are a number, so I'll start with the basic one. The first law of indices is the multiplication law. Multiplication rule or law of indices. It says if I am multiplying two numbers and they have the same basis, I add the powers. So this one is equal to a raised to the power of m plus n. I'll do an example on multiplication rule. I say evaluate or simplify an exponential expression which is written as 2 raised to the power of 3 multiplied by 2 raised to the power of 2. The bases are the same. Therefore now this will come to 2 raised to the power of 3 plus 2. Now, what is the answer? 2 plus 3 is 2 raised to the power of 5. 2 raised to the power of 5 is the same as 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 2, 16. 16 times 2, 32. So this is our solution. The second law of indices is what you're calling the division law. So for the division law, you go on and say division rule or division law of indices. Division rule of indices. It says that if we are dividing and the bases are the same, then we subtract the powers. A raised to the power of m minus n. An example on division rule, I'll look at it like this and say, I have evaluate or simplify. Example on division rule, simplify. Example 18. Let me look at this example here. Let me say I have 3 raised to the power of 4. I'm dividing it by 3 raised to the power of 2. So the bases are the same. I use one base. I subtract the powers. And then I go ahead and evaluate. 3 take away 2. 4 take away 2. It is 3 raised to the power of 2. 3 raised to the power of 2 is the same as 3 multiplied by 3, which will be equivalent to 9. So that is the division rule. Now, the third rule of indices talks about the power of 0. Power of 0. Power of 0. This rule says any value raised to the power of 0, any value raised to the power of 0 is always equal to 1. It's always equal to 1. Therefore, example or evaluate using the letters first. Example, any value raised to the power of 0. Example, pi raised to the power of 0. The answer is just 1. Example 2, a raised to the power of 0. The answer is 1. Any number you think of raised to the power of 0. Even if I was to talk about pi x y into bracket everything raised to the power of 0, the answer will be 1. So that is it. From there we have the multiplication rule. You add the powers and you follow through the examples as I've shown you. Division rule, you subtract the powers. An example is there. 3 divided by 3, 3 raised to the power of 4 divided by 3 raised to the power of 2. You subtract the powers, then you evaluate. Power of 0, any value raised to the power of 0, the answer will always be 1. Any value. I move on to solve the fourth law of indices. And this fourth law of indices, it states, the fourth law of indices, it states power raised to another power. Rule number 4, power raised to another power, or an exponential raised to another exponential, or an index raised to another index. For example, a raised to the power of m into bracket everything raised to the power of n. So this one is the same as I remove the brackets, then I multiply the two powers, so mn. Therefore, it is written as n raised to the power mn. Example, simplify or evaluate. Example, an example on that. Evaluate or simplify. 2 raised to the power of 3 into bracket 2 everything raised to the power of 2. So this one will be the same as 2 raised to the power of 3 times 2, which will be equivalent to 2 raised to the power of 6. We know very well that 2 raised to the power of 6 is the same as what? 64. So that is the solution. Power raised to another power. You simply remove the bracket and then multiply the 2. Then, so these are the basic rules of indices laws that you have to use them when you are solving what? Exponential questions or questions involving indices, or some other people can name them as powers. Another one will mention the word indices, another one will mention the word exponential. They still refer to the same thing. Now, I will want to go ahead and look at another number of scenarios or questions. Like even for instance, I might give you a question like this one. Now this one using what? Using the letters. The values will still apply, or the values are still the same. I might decide to use the letters and solve a question that looks like this. I tell you maybe for example, simplify. So I want to solve on a number of these. Then we go through and see. So that we simplify now, involving all the rules. Simplify. The first question, x raised to the power of 6, I am multiplying it by x raised to power without a power. B, let me say y raised to the power of 8, I am dividing it by y raised to the power of 4. Then C, pi xy, everything raised to the power of, this is 2 pi xy, everything raised to the power of 0. Then finally I have question D, which is written as now a power to another power, 3 raised to power 2, everything raised to power 2. So here, multiplication rule. Same basis, add powers. X, this one is equal to x raised to the power of 6 plus 1. Whether it is a variable or a coefficient or a constant number without a power, it is always raised to the power of 1. Therefore, this one is equal to x raised to the power of 7. That is the solution. This one, y raised to the power of 8 divided by y raised to the power of 4. This is division rule. 8, y, everything, y raised to the power of 8 minus 4. Because we are dividing. So it is the same as y raised to the power of 4. This one we already said. Any value, any factor, any variable raised to the power of 0, the answer is just 1. And for this one, 3 raised to power 2, everything raised to power 2. So you open up the bracket and say it is 3 raised to power 2 multiplied by 2. So this is the same as 3 raised to power 4. We know that 3 raised to the power of 4 is the same as what? 81. And that is the solution. So I hope you follow through the rules of indices and they help you to solve. The next lesson maybe I might be covering about what? Fractional indices. Solving questions involving fractional indices, or involving what? Fractional what? Exponentials. Thank you so much.